Pastor Brandon, there are young people in this room tonight who are called to be preachers and missionaries and evangelists, but they are going to have to decide tonight if they're going to cross the line. They're going to have to give up the homecoming king crown. They're going to have to give up the homecoming queen crown. They're going to have to give up the scholarship. They may even have to give up a job. I know they're going to have to turn loose of some relationships, because God says before you get up here, you think you all that because that's your boyfriend. You think you all that because that's your girlfriend. But I'm going to need you to take them shoes off, because if I'm going to use you, I don't want anybody checking your shoes out. I want everybody looking at me saying, there is no God like our God. Take your shoes off. You're on holy ground. That's hard to understand, because we spend a lifetime with everybody appealing to our significance. You got nice shoes on, man. You got nice shoes. You come from a good family. Ain't nobody in your family ever been to jail. Ain't nobody in your family ever been convicted. Ain't nobody in your family been a child molester. You don't have any queers in your family. We want everybody tries to appeal to our shoes. But God says, I want you to know something right now. I don't want you for what you got. I want you for what I put in you before your mother knew your name. I want you for what I'm going to bring out of you. Your shoes are immaterial to me. Shove your neighbor and tell him, take your shoes off, man. That's what some of you are at right now. Watch this, Pastor Mike. Barefoot. But what if that pregnant mama at the house with a baby going to preschool, one in diapers, one in the crib, and one on the way, is like that because she chooses to be? Moses is now faced with a transformative decision. Do I stick with my kicks, or do I step on holy ground? Because all my life, I've been known for my shoes. And nobody else around here even got shoes. And God says, don't come any further. Most of you are going to need to head out to the hot dog stand here in just a minute, because you're committed to your kicks. And don't be so quick if you decide you're going to take your shoes off. Because those shoes were the only thing he had left to console him on a hot desert day. Because if you saw how I'm living, you'd think this is who I am. But my shoes remind me, I used to be somebody. Oh, you could laugh at me now. But if you knew who I used to be. And Moses knows that this has been my significance. If I take this off, I'm not special anymore. I don't know how it happened. I used to be sitting where you're sitting tonight. I was the cream of the crop. I was the first in the class. Life takes some funny twists and turns. And you find yourself in the awkward position when you get to my age, holding on to old shoes, because it's the last thing you got left to remind yourself. I hadn't always been a loser. I used to be somebody. So you better think, Moses, because you got a throne you might be able to get back to. You got a castle that your old man once promised you. You may need those shoes to get back there. But God sent me here to tell you, He needs you, man. And I don't know where you're at in this room, Moses, but I came to get your shoes tonight. Because where God's calling you, what you know and who you are and what you bring to the table doesn't matter. But if you got the guts in a minute, I'm going to ask you to get rid of your shoes, Moses. I'm going to ask you to lay down your significance and who you were when you got in the van and headed to San Antonio, Texas. I'm going to ask you to take off of your Facebook that you were the homecoming queen and king, and I'm going to ask you to quit telling everybody that your dad owns the biggest used car dealership in town. I'm going to ask you to take off of your shoes and step into this place with God where the only thing that matters is that in the next 10 years you could be the gasoline that sets the fire of revival from the Great Lakes to the Gulf of Mexico, from the West Coast to the Eastern Seaboard. What if Moses had a throne, but he took his shoes off? He had a castle, but he took his shoes off. You got a name, but you could take your shoes off. You got prominence, but you could take your shoes off. What if? It's not because you couldn't be somebody else. What if it's not because you couldn't do something else? But what if you chose to be barefoot and pregnant?